Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Becky token, a new token on the XRP ledger that is redefining what it means to be Becky. And of course, I am JTXRP. I'm going to be covering mostly projects on the XRP ledger. I may venture out every now and then, but I do believe there's going to be a great migration from other tokens to the XRP ledger, especially with the lawsuit getting solidified and all these different things. It's going to provide XRP a lot more clarity than other tokens. And so I'm getting ahead of the game here, and we're going to be talking about projects on the XRP ledger, Becky being one of them. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stick around for other projects as we cover them on the XRP ledger. And of course, there are the links in the description below for different exchanges. That is right now the only way you can support the channel besides your view time and your likes, and your comments, which are all greatly appreciated. They help me with the algorithm. But the links will help provide monetary bonuses that if you're going to open up an account on an exchange, you can just go use my referral. I'll get a bonus. You'll probably more than likely get money out of it as well. You can read the description for the details. But without further ado, let's get started with Becky and Becky token. How you doing today, Becky?
Oh, I'm excellent. Always improving. Did a little bit of a drive today down from LA, so
that's awesome. Yeah, I heard you. You said just before we shot this that you were meeting with Gorilla Gold and them.
yeah, it was really exciting to meet them in person. We've been, talking and partnered up so much on different projects, including our original Bud Buddies project. So, yeah, it was really great to see them in person, give them real hugs, and share stories across a lunch table, and it was really good.
Awesome.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Great. Well, we're here today to talk about Becky token, and of course, you are Becky, and we also have I've not been familiar with the Becky term as much as I have what's the other one that everyone relates to, people that ask for their managers and stuff like that. I forget the
it starts with the K word.
Yeah, Karen. I don't know. That's the only term I've heard of. So tell us a little bit about yourself first. Let's start off with how you got to Becky token and who you are in the project.
So I'm the lead dev and creator of Becky token. How we got there is kind of interesting. We started in the NFT sector, looking at building mobile games, especially kind of play to earn, so that people in low income countries could make an actual living just playing these games and owning these NFTs. That's kind of where it was the inception, was to kind of spread the wealth around to other communities. So we started Zone 6 exploring what we could do to make impacts and what models would be successful. We were interested in gaming primarily because it's fun for us, and we both have my partner Keith and I have a long history of games and gaming. Okay. Since being young kids and stuff. So we found that to be kind of like a fun entry point. From there, we dug deep into NFT projects, started building out some of our own, but then also got approached by a number of projects and people that we were befriending to help launch theirs. So Bud Buddies became that. We met Brendan, who is lead dev and primary artist, and linked up with him. I started working with him on a technical aspect and some of the art, started animating some of them and kind of bringing them to life a little bit. And then we launched that NFT project and learned a lot about community building, about the difference in this space versus other previous community driven spaces, that these decentralized Web3 values, the same processes don't work. You're not going and selling something to people. You're joining them in a community, in a friendship, right? And so what was interesting about that project is that we built a really tight knit community of really diehard kind of people that believed in what we're doing, which It's a cannabis themed project that gives back to different organizations. One of which is 40 Tons, which helps nonviolent cannabis offenders with reentry into society, commutes their sentences, helps them with legal fees, and then, helps support them reentering society through like job fairs and, helping them with clothing or transitional housing. So we definitely identified with that organization, and then likewise brought in another organization called Saving Sophie, which helps children who are dying of cancer or other kind of very life-threatening ailments get experimental cannabinoid treatments. And that's been saving a number of kids' lives for quite a few years. The mother who created it for her daughter, Sophie, over the past decade in her, challenge to save her daughter's life, she's now pioneered a number of like legal infrastructure aspects that allow for cannabinoid research to move forward with the FDA. So they're currently working with the FDA on approval of a number of medications there. And so our project really was to bring awareness to these types of causes and the effectiveness of this cannabis medicine. And I had a long history in that, right? So from there, basically this group of people that we've gathered together have now bonded in an effort to create other purpose-driven projects, essentially. So you'll see, I'm friends with Gorilla Gold. Well, Gorilla incorporated us very early on into his metaverse project, his art project, which, I'm sure you already heard all about, so I won't elaborate too much on that whole project. But from there, we've developed a lot of different friendships, like Gorilla and Maggie, who are some of the first, but not the last. And we've been able to build a really strong team of people. As a result of that Bud Buddies project, a lot of people started coming our way and wanting to posit ideas. I knew at that point that we needed to be as open-minded as possible about networks that we're producing projects on. A lot of the issues that we found with Bud Buddies is, gas fees, a lack of understanding about NFTs.
Sorry, real quick, because I want to just take this piece by piece. And so, do you mind if I just direct you with some questions real quick?
Sure.
So I just you said a little bit about your background. You said you had a background in this. I know we talked about a little bit about it off camera. Can you just say for the viewers what that background was and how you were able to move into this kind of cancer project and how Becky is tied to that, I guess?
Right. Well, I mean, this is kind of more so the evolution a little bit of how we got to Becky token.
Okay, but that's fine. I was just trying to understand. I'm having a hard time getting there.
I mean, in terms of my experiences, in short, I came from commercial real estate. Well, I studied neuroscience and international relations in college, and then went into commercial real estate, trying to focus on sustainability. But that was, it was just 13 years ago, and people weren't as into it during that market. Moving forward, I got into cannabis, owned a dispensary, went into hemp, and was consulting with pretty large farms and brokering kind of CBD kind of deals with labs. So that was kind of my expertise. And then I went into having a CBD store kind of at the worst timing, because then the lockdowns hit right after that, literally right after I signed the lease. We hadn't even opened the store yet. So we struggled to open it right. And when nobody was walking around, basically. And we were kind of puttering along there, but I found myself really just more so obsessing over the different crypto investments I had made a long time ago, in like 2016 and 2017. Wow. And so I'd been investing in a number of projects, including XRP. I knew all about XRP, and I was going down that rabbit hole really hard as the SEC dropped their case. I was on top of it the entire time, like trying to tell people like, hey, look at this, like, legal document here, and look at this, look at all these little tidbits. And you just kind of sound crazy half the time when
Yep.
you explain that to people.
True.
And so I started linking up with my now business partner. I had hired him to do marketing for my CBD store. But I mean, he's an excellent marketer, but my heart wasn't in it anymore. And the CBD store was only kind of puttering along. And I basically was like, let's go all in on crypto. Like, let's do something here, because I think we'll have more of a meaningful impact.
And that's where Bud Buddies happened, or?
That's when it was. So we started with kind of news. We started trying to do kind of what you're doing now. Like, we were like, do we want to make YouTube videos and like inform people and like be on that? And we kind of quickly decided like, no, we're not like, I don't want to be interviewing people all the time. And, I don't want to be that's not my ideal thing. I mean, like, but I'm not saying it's negative or bad or anything. I'm just saying
it's all
like,
good.
It's not my cup of tea, and so we quickly kind of got out of that, and we were like, well, what other areas of this space are there? There's so many new things. Like there's infinite opportunities here. We'll find something. And so that's when we were like looking at NFTs and the gaming sector. And mind you, this is well before Axie Infinity really like took off or anything. We had a team of 3 Axies before like it was anything, like before all the hype about it. And so we're playing it like Pokemon, and we're looking at this like, oh, this is, I mean, it's a good game, I guess. It's not as great as Pokemon. Like we could make something. We could make some arcade games. Like, yeah, like let's start there, and we'll try and, provide some earning opportunities to people in third world countries. Right. And so that was the initial, concept is we're going to learn how to produce NFT projects and make games. And then we linked up
on the XRPL or
on any on any network at that point, right? We're just open to sorry, getting a call, one second. We're just open to learning and growing, right? And so at that point we didn't have a particular native token that we were super maxis on or anything, and I would still argue that we're not, although I mean I've been pretty obsessed with XRP for a while. I'm not going to lie about that, but my partner's not like some maxi, and we're not maxis of really anything. We call it chain agnostic. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I coined that term, but I use it a lot to describe that we're not maxis of anything. We want to be open to, being agile, being diverse, mm-hmm. being able to explore the technology driven solutions, and not so much like being chained to any one of them. Right. Mm-hmm. So this is a very long winded explanation, I guess, of how we got to Bud Buddies is, we were working with a different project, some guys out of South America, and started to launch that project, but they weren't giving us like a good vibe. We worked with them for like 2 weeks and then decided like, nah, they're trying to get us to pay for a bunch of stuff and not really being communicated. Like it just wasn't working for us. So
this was on the gaming project, correct?
This was our initial onset of like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. So this NFT project wanted us to collaborate with them, but they were not like, we were all in and they had day jobs, and it was different time zones, poor communication kind of thing. Like it wasn't great for a first project. And you hear that a lot in this space is like, nobody's first project is successful.
Mm-hmm.
right? Most people's first projects are failures, right? And so that was an experience. We didn't even launch it really. We just like worked with them for 2 weeks. We're like, nah, okay, we don't want to be tied to this forever, And so we then met Brendan and started producing the Bud Buddies, which we all basically co-founded and incepted together and built from the ground up into the community that it was. But again, there was a lot of learning experience there, like we launched it at like a really poor timing of high gas fees. It was on the Ethereum network, which, I was like, we shouldn't do it on there. Maybe try out Polygon or Tezos or something else first, because we don't have, a bunch of money. and so there were just different aspects of the project that we needed to learn from and grow from.
Yep.
So when I was pushing like, hey, like let's look at XRP Ledger. Let's at least, give it a shot in terms of, I know that it's still very early for them in this sector. And now we've had like a number of experiences, not just with Bud Buddies, but being in Twitter spaces, being immersed in these NFT communities, purchasing NFTs, figuring out which projects, like, how to value what's good and what's a scam, or what's maybe some kind of weird like joke, I guess.
I might have to get with you on another video about that, because it's an area that I'd love to explore and bring that to the community as well. But I'll let you continue,
Right.
but maybe for another time.
Well, and so that's definitely like a huge, like, yeah, a huge topic to explore in general, right? And so we saw this, like, I in particular saw this huge gap between the XRP Ledger community and what was going on over on Ethereum in terms of like the creative diversity that was going on, and all these like expansive friendships and really meaningful relationships forming around art and entertainment, and like your everyday person can, now mint an NFT of like something they drew or something they took a photo of, and when they tell their story about it is when it gives it meaning. And so that's what we started noticing a lot, is like, at first when we got into the NFT space, we were like, oh, well, anybody can just, slap some crap together and have a, 10,000 NFT project and make millions. Like, that is not at all how it works. It's very much, what are your values and how do other people identify with those values? And will you continue to come together around those values? It's some of it might be art driven. You might really enjoy the art, but the art also displays typically a value, and the artist will communicate that value. So if you believe in that, then that's what you're like buying into. You're getting into a community with the same values. And that's what we learned from that, and especially from Bud Buddies. So when I got over to XRP Ledger, I noticed that, like, all these communities are really highly focused around like just investing. Really, it's like it was really, what are the numbers? Is the chart going up? Like, not really, and not even necessarily a focus on utility. Some of them, yeah. A lot of them, no. and I don't necessarily believe that every project needs like to have a defined utility per se. Like, it can be a meme coin as long as it's stated like it's a meme coin, because
Sorry, I was just gonna
oh yeah, you go ahead.
I said this on, I think I posted this on or replied to one of your tweets, and Gorilla liked it. And I'll just say it again, that like there's two ways that I believe that coins come into primary, I should say. There's tons, I'm sure. But the two primary ways is that you have you have a problem that, the tokens is going to, or the protocol is going to solve, and therefore, the token is involved in that somehow. And then you start out with people just, want to figure out how to create something, and then the use, because you have something, you have a token, you have a community that's built around it. Then all of a sudden people want to use your token instead of creating their own. And I think that that's something that, is generally really powerful. And so I don't really understand meme tokens as much. And I don't, is Becky token a meme token for that matter? Like
Well, so
sorry.
that's the interesting part. It's kind of yes and no. I mean, and so that's where we're getting to, right?
Okay.
Is like I'm noticing all these kind of differences and things that we learned from this other sector, and I knew I didn't want to make the same kind of, I guess, mistakes, right? Not that we made a bunch of mistakes, really, just more so I'm on a learning curve and
Yeah.
I'm not going to like stop learning that, And so with Becky token, it was me testing the waters of the XRP ledger, testing out the community and finding that a lot of issues with the XRP ledger had expectations of airdrops, a lot of bots on the airdrops, a lot of bots on Twitter. And so and then you've got the friction of onboarding people into a wallet that is not commonly used. So you've got, people that, yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things in crypto land, no, most people don't know about Zum. Like, you start talking with people over on Ethereum NFT projects, all they know is MetaMask and nothing else,
Yep.
and so if we're going to bridge a gap between there, you need something to say, hey, look, this is how you get in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is your entry point into now what is like, you can now explain all the benefits of like, well, it's got this built-in DEX. Like you can't do that on Ethereum. You can't just make an ERC20 and just start trading it with other ERC20s. Like, and right off the get-go, and that's the power of the ledger really speaks for itself. And likewise, Zum wallet, like it's got amazing utility and like it's constantly growing with more third-party apps. So why would I not drive people into something that is like, it will blow them out of the water? Yeah. And so, and with Becky token in particular, so I initially was like, okay, well, how long will it take me to send out? If I was sending out one Becky per minute for a year, it would be, it's that song from Rent, 525,600 minutes. And so I issued that many initially, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start giving these out, see what's up, right? And then it turned into this thing where it's like, okay, well, we can really teach people how to onboard here. We can teach them how to use the tip bot, which also opens up, widespread utility for all projects on the ledger. Once you have the tip bot set up in there, you can tip anybody in any token that you have a trust sign for. So it's not just about Becky. It's like literally you can do anything with it, right? So it at the end of the day, we're really trying to make that easy for people to understand. And then, being myself, I'm trying to, well, not trying, I am genuinely authentic about this, and I'm pretty degenerate. I, have my late night hours with random NFT people smoking weed and like hanging out and stuff. Like, so Becky token, if you go to the website and kind of read like how it's like,
I'll share my screen here real quick. I have it up.
Yeah, it's essentially kind of trolling in a sense all the kind of thirsty dudes that have an idea of like Becky being, I don't know, so a sexual act, right? Which
don't get me banned on YouTube. Don't get me banned on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying what it is, but yeah, I thought, well, okay, crypto is what, 90-80% men, and if they're going to be moved over somewhere, then might as well like, lure them in, right? And then if you actually if you actually are like, genuine and want to read through the site, then you can see right there, under the origins section, kind of what inspired it, right? And so lack of female representation in crypto, number one. Number two, I'm from San Diego. I've always known about this domestic abuse shelter called Becky's House, and it helps people of all genders with transitional housing out of violent situations. And so I knew as soon as I made the token, calling it Becky, that I was going to, give back to that particular facility at the very least.
Gotcha.
And then the next thing down being explaining the rap song that kind of inspired it, right? So
Yeah.
Becky by Plies kind of, is a little derogatory, and we're like, okay, well, let's play off of that and see if we can get him to change it. And then, like I've told you already, I'm a lifelong cannabis user and want to promote the benefits of that, whatever on our site and through Bud Buddies. But the main driver of Becky Token being that we can not only onboard people into crypto, but we can also utilize it for certain globalized efforts to achieve certain actionable goals, right? So
Gotcha.
the evolution of Becky is still ongoing. So if you go...
Sorry, just real quick, just to recap.
Oh, yeah.
So it started off as an experiment on the XRPL that you could help learn from, continue your learning journey. And then it became educational, so you could help onboard other people into understanding how to use some, understanding, and of course you have the aspect to it where, you were talking about the female representation. So you've kind of just the Becky token's been adding meaning to it over time is what
Right.
the what I'm getting from your story, and it hasn't stopped yet, right? So
yeah, exactly. It's constantly evolving to get better based on community input and who's involved with what, and so what I figured out was, all right, I'm gonna airdrop a third of these things, right? So we actually increased the limit to 589,420,000 or 420,710. Yeah. And we're like, okay, that'll make it enough so that all these trust lines can like make it rain Becky and the Twitter tip bot, and that people will be seeing it and it'll start moving around, right, via Twitter.
Gotcha.
And so we're like, okay, we're gonna airdrop a good chunk of this just to everybody, and mind you, it says a holders airdrop, but we made sure to tip anybody that interacted with the Twitter page before that holders airdrop. So if you were at all like interacting with us, then you for sure were holding Becky at that time. So you got a fat airdrop of like 126,000 Becky or something. And then after that, and so this is another utility that I derived from it, was we can actually weed out a lot of trust line bots and Twitter bots from this. So I've been building out a whole blacklist, which we can get to later also with Ocean Assist, because that Ocean Assist definitely helped out with that.
Okay, I'll make sure to ask that in the next video, and stay tuned or go look at that video if you're watching this one. So.
Right. So with Becky Token though, so I came up with a distribution method where, all right, so I've got a third of it now locked up for this like tipping mechanism where if you tip at least 3 different addresses per month with the hashtag Gimme That Becky, which is a line from the Plies song, then we'll send you 20% more Becky in the next month, in the first week of the next month, because I'm not tying myself down to the first day. That's too much work, So in the first week of the next month, you're going to get 120% what you tipped out. So it's like a pay it forward kind of thing. Until that whole treasury like runs out, and there's like 178 million tokens there. So like we'll see how many cycles of this we have to run. I did cap it at like 2 years, But based on like how how much people are tipping with it right now, I don't think it's going to take that long.
Oh
Once
gosh.
it,
Okay.
yeah, like it'll exponentially go as they onboard more people and tip, like spread it out, right? And
Hmm.
then you have to let people know that the more they give, the more they get. So that was also part of the difficulty, was like, oh, hey, yeah, you've got this Becky token now. Don't go dump it, go tip it, and you're gonna get it back, you know? And we'll make an announcement probably when when we've done the metrics, and we're getting close to that running out. I'll make an announcement and say, hey, like, we're going to do a giveaway or something for this last remainder, so nobody's like tipping and then we don't have enough or something like that. So we'll make sure that that doesn't happen. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so we've got that functionality of the distribution, and then the last 30% was basically for community building, for tipping people on Twitter from the Becky token account,
Okay.
and then also I'm gonna have the community vote on if and when to sell some to donate it to that shelter.
Okay.
And
I was kind of bring it back here to ask because I was kind of interested
yeah,
to know how that played in, and because I know that like and maybe this is a good time. I know we talked a little about the project and kind of where it's currently evolving and constantly evolving. And so you have all
right.
these, like, this is an amazing plan that I think is built into this to give back to the shelter for sure. Um, but how, like, the fact that you're giving all these Becky tokens away and they're being distributed, all of it, how do you see this? A lot of people are going to be looking at this on an investment basis. How do you see the Becky token evolving in the future? Do you have you has the evolution given you a roadmap of any kind that this might be increasing in value in the future? Or
I mean, yes, but that's not the purpose of it. Like, I've been giving it, like, the purpose was for us to be able to figure out who are real people that want to be involved in real communities and have purpose driven projects around that. So we have evolved a bit more. I've hosted at I guess we've just done one so far with Becky token, but we did a town hall for domestic abuse and mental health. So we had a good, like, probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 people come through at various times and share different stories of mental and physical abuse, and people coming together to discuss their traumas and possible solutions for the traumas, and possible ways that the community can organize around those efforts. So there has been one where we're planning to do more and more regularly scheduled mental health check-in type things for people on crypto, in the Twitter spaces, or whoever wants to join.
no,
Um,
that's totally cool. I just think, I know people are going to be looking at this from a certain angle, so I want to make sure I'm asking questions that they are,
right.
kind of interested in thinking about. And so I think that what you're doing is really excellent. I think that it seems like you're using the token as an avenue to communicate and to grow into a lot of things, and that other projects can spawn off of. If I'm hearing that correctly, is that right?
Well, yeah, we've kind of now become a little bit of a launch pad for ideas and different projects, right? So
Mhm.
we've developed now a model that I'll talk about more in Ocean Assist, and how that's coming into play with all of this. And what I'm learning and developing over there, I'm planning to then reapply to the Becky project, like,
Okay.
2.0, and it'll be more community driven. Like, I won't be in charge of it, kind of thing. It'll be
Gotcha.
more of a DAO base, right? So that'll happen more near the end of the distribution period. That being said, I mean, while I appreciate people looking at it as an investment, it is
Mhm.
not an investment. You know what I mean? Like, if they want it for free, they can get it for free anytime right now. Like, it's really not the purpose of it. right? And I'm not making money off of it. I'm not going around selling it, so like at the end of the day, like I'm doing all this work for free to help people, right?
Yep.
And that's it, so like, so we started there to test the waters. That doesn't mean I'm not going to make money later or launch other projects that will make money, like this was me testing the waters and figuring out like kind of the mechanics of how these communities operate and what their expectations are, and how we can build beautiful things together or bridge gaps that might be lacking in this community but are like prolific in another one, right?
Yep.
So we
Now,
launched Becky Token. We got that going and learned a lot from that. And then literally right as I was about to take the snapshot for Becky Token, Keith hits me up and he's like, I want to make an ocean conservation token. And it was like New Year's Eve. He's like, can you go make one? Like, I want it done soon, And I was like, okay, like I guess I'll make the token for now, and then we'll figure.
that became motion assist that we're going to talk about
Yeah,
later, right? Okay, cool.
yeah. um,
Well,
yeah. I mean, I mean, back to Becky. I guess we could say in terms of the ever evolving structure of it. There's a number of components that we'll talk about in Ocean Assist that all reapply over here. It wasn't something that was necessarily planned from inception, but something that'll definitely benefit that project. And as it does gain liquidity, because you're right, eventually, if people want it, they're going to have to purchase it or get tipped in it, and so at that point, it probably will gain some type of liquidity value if people are believing in it, and it's widespread enough. So at that point, I mean, I'd like the project to be at a stage where the community can really be the driving factor of where that goes. Sorry, I'm getting a call real quick. So like organizing a DAO, and a token curated registry, and some of the other things that we pretty much modeled out and incepted in Ocean Assist. So
that sounds interesting. Okay, well,
yeah.
we'll leave that for cliffhangers, guys. But real quick, just want to talk about the team, the partnerships, and the airdrop fairly quickly. So the team started off as you, then you brought in your business partner into Becky. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Becky is mostly just me.
Okay.
Keith definitely like helps support and like markets it with some of our other projects and stuff. But everything Becky is my pet project to show our teammates like, hey, get over here. Like, let's develop on this ledger. Like, why are we messing around with gas fees over here? It's the past. Like, this is the future. Let's go, And so when we started seeing the results and the community excitement around it, and I'm coming in here seeing that they're lacking all this fun that's going on over there, because people in the NFT space have a lot of fun. Like there's a lot of like community driven art and just like weirdness in general. Like
That's awesome.
there's a lot of hilarity that ensues, and so we just wanted to kind of bring some of that vibe, I guess, and test the water. See your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yep.
And so who's going to be in our tribe, right? Like what does our tribe look like on this other network? Or should we bring our tribe over here and like let's merge them all, So that's kind of where we're at. We're starting to bring our friends over from other networks and like saying, hey, you're gorilla, you've got a history with the Simpsons and Family Guy. Like let's give you this opportunity to influence as many people as you can with your epic stories and your ability to mentor in art, and this is just the beginning of people that we're gonna start introducing to the ledger and letting them explore their concepts.
Gotcha. So I think of like you as a developer and you as the creator. It seems like you are what I've always believed in, like the Great Migration, right? I don't know if you've like from Ethereum and other blockchains over to the
Right.
XRPL, or even if it's not the XRPL, just to a better, more sustainable blockchain, in general, as technology betters itself. So I think there's going to be some kind of great migration, and it's been so hard to try to figure out how do other networks get over here, and it's projects like this that I think are really amazing that are going to show the benefits and bring other people that are in other corners of the blockchain community, cross migrating. So I think that's awesome. So
Right. And like, it's kind of funny to be like at a bar and be like, oh yeah, I bet you a million, Becky, that like you're gonna miss that shot in pool or whatever. And like, and so I was onboarding random people, like just like randomly joking about it, and being like, yeah, get your Becky token. You're not gonna, like, and so now it's kind of become this entry point for people that know nothing about crypto, which is where you want to get them, before they learn about Ethereum and before they go and waste a bunch of money on gas fees, like don't even worry about MetaMask, just get your Zum wallet straight off, right? Like so it's people like that like, especially we're trying to make it easy to understand, because that expands, that helps every project on the ledger, and from there, we've been able to make a lot of friends, right? So not only friends that we're bringing in, but other friends on already established in XRP Ledger. And when I started, discussing different ideas for code and things, I realized that, there was a huge lack of even development that wasn't, already locked up by a few companies, essentially. So like independent developers on the XRP ledger are pretty rare. And so I definitely saw a need for that and started just messing around myself. And I mean, we already have all these like kind of models and structures. And I found that, the code of XRP Ledger is far simpler to delve into and learn from scratch than, I mean, it's already pre-existing code languages. You don't have to go and learn like a new language, like with Ethereum, you have to learn Solidity, which is their smart contract, like coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, which it's not that hard to pick up. I mean, it's if right?
I've tried code many different times. That is not my forte. So more power to you, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone. Just like, I'm not gonna be a YouTube star, right? But I can definitely sit there and look at some functions and stare at them for a while and try and, posit whether or not they'll go together well, right? So I think coding and development is actually far more fun than people give it credit for.
I like the coding, learn to code games. Like those are always interesting.
Yeah.
To me, but I've learned that it's not my what do you call it? Not my strength, at least. So, and as far as you being YouTube famous, maybe one day, you could like, if you're listening to this, you can like and subscribe, by the way, that would help. But back to Becky token though. Partnerships. I know that you are, of course, gathering friends and partners as you're growing in this experiment. Has anything really helped Becky token? Has there been anyone that's partnered with you yet that's really made Becky token go further and far between? Anyone you want to give a shout out to? I mean,
oh yeah, I mean, I definitely want to give a shout out to my friends over in the Twitter Spaces, Too Cold, X-Rated, Uncle Neil, Lemmy,
Lemmy. Oh, definitely
and
Lemmy.
J Remy makes a lot of the songs for a lot of projects now. But yeah, those are all cool people that we've met through the Twitter Spaces, and in particular, their community has definitely accepted Becky token from the get-go. I mean, Too Cold is the one who onboarded me into Zum Wallet in a
Okay.
Twitter space. So I gotta give her the shout out. Like
Gotcha.
she's half the reason we, even started pursuing it as much as we did in the right time,
Wow. Okay.
and so I got to give that credit where credit's due. And
I think I've
that
seen her in a
she,
space once or twice. She's pretty cool.
yeah, exactly. And likewise, it was the entire kind of XR Doge community around that time that was going heavy on the memes and whatnot. So that's where I first kind of entered the XRP side of Twitter Spaces, and that's where I befriended a lot of the XRP community that was on Twitter, right? And
Gotcha.
so there's definitely quite a few fun characters and some kind of more aggressive ones, but like it's
Okay.
interesting feeling them all out and seeing who believes in you, like, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like, you're building a community of trust. And like, no matter what, like, we've seen this a lot, especially in the NFT sector. Like, no matter all the bells and whistles you might have on a project, that project still might rug pull you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what you're really, if you're not building a community that knows you and you're like accessible. Like, I go talk with these people, I mean, probably every day at this point, but I mean, if not, I'm like talking with them every couple of days, and if you're not accessible like that,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not really building any value in the community. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to know what kind of person you are, and so I make myself highly vulnerable, highly accessible. And, that might like seem absurd on the internet, but
It
in
builds
this day
trust,
and
like you said.
age, yeah. And like, if people, I guess, want to have the power of Web3 principles and take that back for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
then they also have that responsibility towards each other. And this is a very kind of like existential discussion that I like to get into all the time. I mean, when people talk about what makes a quality project and utility, and like things like that, I mean, look at Becky token. It started as just like me experimenting with the token, and now it's got tremendous utility. It's got a ton of function for it and a really strong community. So like, did it start that way? No. And did it grow into something that will eventually outgrow me? Yeah. And that's the beauty of this technology and the opportunities it provides. So our group now is like, has all these experiences, are launching more projects, and building essentially like a template, like a tech stack with a template that
Hmm.
will help drive successful models for whatever your purpose is. Because you hear all the time, like, okay, well, all right, I heard the other day Burger King wants to make NFTs. They're like, what's an NFT? And
Mm-hmm.
then you see like Walmart is going to launch a crypto token and NFT project. And it's like, well, what's going on here? I thought, we as individuals, we're going to kind of take something back here. And now we're just seeing the same things play out on
Corporate takeover. Yeah.
a new internet. And so I just want to stay true to helping the individual, helping the smaller grouping of individuals, right, to achieve their goals, and that might be something that is like very direct, and very small, like a very localized thing, or
Yeah.
it could be something very, very global with localized functionality. So
So
yeah,
you're
I guess
definitely
I'm
more
kind of,
the grassroots project, and you're helping other grassroots projects and other ideas that are starting off, rather than just, hey, there's a company that wants to invest in another company to make something on the blockchain. That's not what you're doing. You're helping the individuals that have blockchain ideas. and
Right.
helping as a developer, giving them the opportunities to build that community, to see where their project's going to go. I think that's really awesome. So
Right.
thank you for that.
And you nailed it there. Yeah, because it's like, what's the point of having this decentralized technology if we're just going to go centralize it all over again and have people use it the same way? Like,
Well,
we had meetings with people that want to put like more of accredited university systems on into a metaverse, right? And I was kind of like, well, why? Like, why don't we reimagine what education can be with metaverse functionality? Why do you want to go and like recreate the same kind of accreditation experience that isn't really benefiting most people that go through it?
Yeah, higher education is a racket anyway, but I'm not going to get into that discussion here with certification and college and all that garbage. Anyways, sorry guys if you're listening. Kids, go to school, but figure out what you want to do with your life as well. Just before we end this video, I want to get to the airdrop. I know you said you were doing airdrops. There's a way to earn. I was just hoping you could, if anyone wants to get a hold of Becky token, how can they get it for free, and how can they get it if they want to buy it? Like,
well, so actually you caught me right at the right time, because I did announce that we're going to do another holders airdrop sometime this week. What's today? It's Wednesday. So if you go ahead and tell people about it tomorrow or something, I can wait till maybe Sunday. Okay. So for that one, you're going to need to be holding some tokens, because this is my last step of weeding out all the trust line bots. So we did just do airdrop to all trust lines, and I've just been analyzing the transaction data to see who dumped and threw and closed their trust lines, and who's been tipping and what, so that's kind of been a headache, but not too bad. So
this Sunday, huh? Okay.
Yeah, let's go for Sunday. You can make that announcement. That's some serious alpha for you, I guess. Well,
so that's but how do they get a hold of Becky? Because they got to be a holder, right?
So the way you get a hold of it is you go to beckytoken.com and you follow the steps to onboard into the Zum wallet if you don't have it. Okay. Then you set up your Twitter tip bot, which can be activated simply by tweeting out the code that it gives you. There's an app there in the Zum wallet. You just click that.
Just go back here real quick. So the trust line, it'll bring up this, and you set up there.
Sorry, I skipped the trust line setup. Yeah, you go to Zum wallet, set up the trust line, and then the Twitter tip bot, and then you can just
where do I go to the Twitter tip bot? Where do I go for that? Just so I can make sure I put that in the description for them.
So that'll be in your Zum wallet, so you can't actually do it from your computer.
Okay. That's right. I did it a long time ago, so.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, once you have it set up, you never have to do it again, which is the nice part. Unless the internal servers reset, or sometimes there's a malfunction, he resets everything. So, okay. But that being said, so you set up the tip bot, you go to our Twitter page and you comment. Okay. And then we will tip you. The better the comments, like not necessarily even that they have to be nice, just more so like, oh, you put a cool GIF up there, or like, something a little more than like, send me a tip.
Give me that, Becky.
Bigger tips. Yeah, those ones definitely get bigger tips. So like, definitely like,
be creative, guys and gals.
Yeah, and preferably actually one about women or female empowerment. We really like those. Gotcha. Or weed, we like weed.
All right. So give me some ideas there, guys. Just go set up your trust lines. And
we also, since we are pumping Ocean Assist, the awareness of Ocean Assist, not the token. Yeah. We're trying to promote the awareness of Ocean Assist. You can also go there and maybe use our hashtag give me that Becky, and make a comment on an Ocean Assist tweet, and we'll take care of you there as well. Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, so you can get free Becky anytime, especially by coming into Twitter Spaces. If you go into Too Cold's Twitter Space, you'll definitely get tipped in Becky. If you heard this YouTube and then go in there on Twitter and say, hey, like, Becky was on a YouTube video and told me to come in here. They will make it rain Becky on you. I guarantee you that. So
gotcha. All right. So easiest way, it sounds like, is to follow you on a Twitter space. And hopefully, I'll put the links that I've been able to accumulate down in the description for some of these things. And of course, you can rewind back in the video if you're watching this. Let Becky know. I'm sure she'll be very available to answer any questions you have. So she's very accessible, as she's always been. So
if you yeah, if you also just DM the account and let me know, like, if you make a comment and we don't reply within 24 hours, like on the main part of the page, just DM me and say that you watch this YouTube video. We'll make sure that we get you taken care of.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Becky, and we'll join you again on the Ocean Assist video. But thank you so much.
Awesome.
And like and subscribe, everyone, and go check out Becky's page and Becky token. And yep, I'm JTXRP. This is Becky, and we're out. Bye, guys.
Bye.